Welcome back and greetings to the 12 tribes, to those not of the 12 tribes but want to worship Yah. And again, greetings to those that want truth. We're continuing, we're going to finish the sixth trumpet. We're studying Revelation. We're going to finish the sixth trumpet and go into the seventh trumpet today. But there's a lot that we have to look at in terms of these things. Even sometimes there's the Bible will give you a couple of verses. But when you compare scripture with scripture, sometimes a couple of verses in one place is explaining a whole lot of stuff from another place. Okay, it does that sometimes. And Revelation chapter 11 is one of those places. Let's look at where we left off in Revelation chapter 11. So we're studying Book of Revelation. We studied 10 chapters, 7 churches, 7 seals, and now we're in 6th trumpet. Okay, we talked about what all of that means and how in the sixes, 144,000 appear. Okay, in the sevens, it's all over. Okay, sixes, 144,000 appear. Sevens, 7th church, 7th seal, 7th trumpet, all over. Okay, so now Shabbat Shalom. Now let's go back where we left off, Revelation chapter 11. Now, so the 144,000 are going to be given a message. For 3.5 years, this message is going to have been proclaimed through the earth. The 144,000 are not in one place. They will never meet until they're on the sea of glass. Okay? Don't think they're going to be gathered together on the earth anymore. They're going to meet on the sea of glass. And all the redeemed are going to meet for the first time together on the sea of glass. Right? That's the first time we're going to see each other all together. Okay. Other than that, we're all going to be scattered, as the Bible says, scattered and driven to the 4 corners of the earth. He's calling us together from the 4 corners of the earth, and he's going to bring us to our land. But when he calls us together, he's calling us together on the sea of glass. Okay. He's calling us together on the sea of glass. And we're going to meet on the sea of glass before the throne of the Father. And at that point, we will take the land. Okay. So now, Revelation chapter 11. Notice what happens. So they preach, and after 3.5 years, their message stops. And the world puts to death the 2 witnesses, the 2 tables of the covenant, destroys them, and truth is put to death, and lies prosper. That's what we're getting right now. But the 144,000 puts a check on it. But then after they're finished their witness, it seems like the 2 witnesses are gone. Okay, because when man-made religion takes over, there's no more witnesses. Okay, so when man-made religion takes over, there's no witnesses. All right, so the Spirit of the Father, and again, let's look again what it says there in Genesis chapter 6 with regard to the last days, which is the days of Noah, is an example of the last day. And so you're talking about Genesis chapter 6. I'm going to begin at verse 1 and read down to verse 3, Genesis 6 from 1 to 3. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Yah saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And they took of them wives of all they chose. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. He's pronouncing judgment, saying his spirit is not going to strive with man, and this earth at that time was only going to last 120 more years. He was telling them. And Noah was preaching this message. Okay. And he says he's going to destroy all flesh from off the earth. And then, but with Noah, he said, verse 18, but with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wives and thy sons' wives with thee. Okay, so he said, I'm establishing my covenant with Noah. There's the covenant again. Okay, I'm establishing my covenant with Noah. And he said to Noah, because I'm establishing my covenant with you, you and your family, get into the ark, because I'm going to destroy everything else. Hasn't changed. Right now, his spirit is going to stop striving with man. When the witness of the 144,000 is finished, the wicked will appear to triumph. Man-made religion will appear to have won. and the world will be under that system locked down. The 144,000 will have been scattered into mountains, into deserts, into wildernesses, into rainforests, scattered, but protected by the Father, by the Spirit, just as we were protected as we came out of Egypt. Because remember, and some people are erroneously claiming that we're going to go back to that land and come out the same way. That's not going to happen. We've already saw the Most High has scattered us into the four corners of the earth. We will not be gathered together until we're on the sea of glass. Therefore, all of us that will be scattered and all of us that will be fleeing in different areas of the planet, depending on where we are. Okay, you're going to be in the forests, in deserts, in rainforests, in mountains, and we're going to be scattered. And from those places, he will gather us together, okay, on the sea of glass. Now, notice Revelation chapter 11, beginning at verse 11, where we left off. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yah entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour there was a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. So let's talk about this. Well, you know, 7,000 is a number that's symbolic. 7 is a symbolic number, represents completion. So there's going to be men going to be slain, but a remnant of them gave glory to the Most High. Who's that? Let's first look at Isaiah chapter 13, because Isaiah 13 and 14 is a prelude to what we're reading right now. It's an object lesson of what we're looking at right now, Isaiah 13 and 14. Let's take a look at that. Isaiah 13 and 14. Let's go back to the prophets again. Isaiah chapter 13. I'm gonna read parts of this. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but then I'm gonna go to chapter 14. But notice what it says here. The burden of Babylon, beginning at verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which Yeshaiah or Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice of them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the noble. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. You know who that is, right? The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from Al Shaddai. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames. Remember, that was also the description in Jeremiah chapter 30, talking about the time of Jacob's trouble. Same description here. Okay. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Okay, it's same thing. For the stars of heaven and constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. See, this is the same thing. This is the return of Messiah. What he said, his sanctified ones, 144,000. And so he's going to bring judgment. That's what you saw in Revelation 11 just now, when he said they thought they killed them. They were resurrected. They were brought forth, and then 7,000 died, and the remnant gave glory to the God of heaven. Who's that remnant that gave glory to the God of heaven? Watch closely. Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. We're going to skip down to Isaiah 14 and begin at verse 1. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. Watch what it says. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob. This is an extension of chapter 13, just letting you know. Okay. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. The remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the God of heaven. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. For servants and handmaids. These are the ones that come at that time. They shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Okay, chapter 14. Let's continue reading. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. And thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hinder it. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. And you see that a lot in Revelation. They break forth into singing. And 144,000 again will sing a song which nobody else can sing. But then when we get to chapter 19, you're going to see everybody singing a song, another song. Okay. And so that's what's going down. Okay. Let's skip down for a second and let's go down to the enemy himself. Okay. Verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee. Watch for you see the pit, right? Thou shalt be put what? Into the sides of the pit. That's where it come out of. Right? The beast coming up and going back in the pit. And we're going to see there, Revelation chapter 20. Angel said he seals him up in a bottomless pit. Here it is here. Thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake nations, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden underfoot. We're seeing the future, the near future. Okay, the near future. You understand? So this is what we just read. And there's more. There's more. It's not just here. We're going to read in Ezekiel chapter 39 as well. In fact, let's take a look at it. Ezekiel 39. See, so I'm just going to compare because 38 actually comes after 39. 38 is at the end of the 1,000 years. 39 is the beginning of the 1,000 years. What we just read is the beginning of the 1,000 years. Matter of fact, before we even go there, let me show you some Isaiah chapter 60, Isaiah chapter 61 and chapter 60. Let's take a look at that real quick before we go to Ezekiel. All the prophets talk about the book of Revelation. All of them. Okay. People just don't recognize it because they think two Bibles, Old and New Testament, and they don't understand it's one book. And all the prophets are speaking in Revelation. Okay. Isaiah chapter 60. Let's see. Yeah. 61. Isaiah 61. I mean, there's a lot in 60 also. Okay, but let's look at 61. It's kind of succinct. The spirit of the Most High Yahweh is upon me, because Yahweh hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. This is the Jubilee announcement of Messiah, first given in AD 27. And that's why I say watch 2027. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified. And they shall build the old waste places. They shall raise up the former desolations. They shall repair the waste cities and desolations of many generations. Watch this now. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks. And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the God of heaven. This is not all Gentiles. No, because there are Gentiles that are represented, before we go to Ezekiel, in Galatians. There's two sets of Gentiles that are going to be in the kingdom. Aside from the ones that's lost, they're not dealing with them. But we're talking about the ones that's going to be in the kingdom. Two sets of Gentiles. Notice again, Galatians chapter 2. Wait a minute. No, it's Galatians chapter 3. Galatians chapter 3. Beginning at verse 26. This is the Apostle Paul writing to the Gentile converts to the nation that's in Galatia. To the nation in the name of the way, Messiah. Okay. For ye are all children of Yah by faith in Messiah Yahushua. That is the Hebrew Messiah. Verse 26. Verse 27. For as many as you have been baptized into Messiah have put on Messiah. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Messiah Yahushua. And if ye be Messiahs, then ye are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. What's that saying? That's not saying there's no such thing as a Gentile. When he says that, people think there's no such thing as male. No, there is male and female. What he's saying is you're all redeemed through the Hebrew Messiah. And those that come now, sincerely now, during this time, become part of Abraham's seed. That's why I said you get grafted in and you become heirs according to the promise. But then there's going to be some that's going to be, what did it say? Taken captive, whose captives they were, and they shall be ruled over. They're going to become vine dressers and plowmen. They're going to serve us in the kingdom for 1,000 years. So don't think you can't just classify all Gentiles the same. It's like you can't classify all Israelites the same. The Israelites are going to be traitors. The Israelites are going to receive the truth. But the ones that are receiving the truth are a remnant. And the Gentiles that come to the kingdom are a remnant. Again, Amos chapter 9. Amos chapter 9. Watch this now. Amos chapter 9 from verse 8 down to verse 12. Watch what it says about the Gentiles. Amos chapter 9 from 8 to 12. Behold, the eyes of the Most High Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom. That's this one, Babylon. And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith Yahweh. For lo, I will command and will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Watch verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen which are called by my name, saith Yahweh that doeth this. See? So you can't just classify them all the same. There's a remnant of them that's going to be redeemed. There's some of them that's going to serve as our servants. There's some of them that's going to be kings with us in the kingdom. They're going to be in the kingdom with us. They're going to be part of the citizenry. You understand? So you have all, so here in the book of Revelation, you see that part that's going to be taken captive. Okay? See that part is going to be taken captive at the end. You also see how Asatan is going to be placed in the pit. Okay, going to be placed in the pit. And that's what the Bible says again, Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20. We'll go through this more detail when we get there. But Revelation chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Asatan, and bound him 1,000 years. Can cast him into the bottomless pit. That's what you saw in Isaiah chapter 14. That's what you're going to see in the first return of the Messiah. Okay, that's what you're going to see. Praise the Most High. Okay, so now Ezekiel, though, we're going to come right back because all of this leads back to chapter, the seventh trumpet. Okay, so here, Ezekiel chapter 39. I want to compare chapter 38 and 39, just the beginnings of it, so you can see the differences between the two. Okay, chapter 39 first. Beginning at verse 1. We're going to compare the beginnings, then we're going to go through chapter 39. But look, therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against God, and say, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O God, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come from the north parts, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and cause thy arrows to fall out of thy right hand. So notice what he says in chapter 39. Gog and Magog. Again, Gog and Magog are representing today as Europeans. Because Europeans, original peoples, are from Japhet, and out of Japhet, his children were Gog, okay, and Magog, and Togomar. Okay, so all of those, and so he said, I'm going to leave but the sixth part of you. And Meshach and Tubal, all of them are Yafet. I'm going to leave the sixth. Why is he saying that to Yafet? Why is it? Does he hate white people? We can call them white. I mean, really, they're not white, but does he hate Europeans? No. What's going on? See, this is what people don't want to know, but it's true. The sons of Yafet have been given dominion over this earth through Rome for the last 2,000 years. And exactly it started with Madai and the Medes and the Persians. Then came the Greeks with Alexander the Great. That was the beginning of the Japhetic rule on planet Earth. The rule of Ham ended with Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom in Babylon. Ham had been ruling for 2,000 years between Babylon, the Assyrians, and the Egyptians, which we call Mizraim. They had been ruling the earth for 2,000 years. The last world ruler was Nebuchadnezzar. And then after that, his grandson Belshazzar lost the kingdom. After that, the children of Yafet have been ruling. So at the end, when the children of Yafet is ruled, and the Bible compares Nebuchadnezzar's Hamitic kingdom to the children of Yafet at the end. Remember, in the top was Yafet, was Ham. He told the king, he said, you're the head of gold of the statue. But then the metals get less precious till you get to the iron at the end. And the iron is the hardest, most cruelest one. That's Yafet. Just telling you what the Bible is showing us. That's your fact. And they're not giving up this kingdom. They're not. So that's why they are going to lead the charge. Their religions, with the Christianity and Islam and Judaism, is going to lead the charge against Yah's kingdom and his people. Because after all, we've been saying it's Judases, the corrupt leaders, Edomites, and Romans. Okay, always together against Yah's people. Now, when you saw Messiah, it's all the way to the end. So he says about them, he said, I'm going to leave a sixth part of you. I'm going to leave part of y'all. I'm not going to destroy all of y'all. I'm going to leave part of y'all. Okay? But a lot of y'all going to fall on the mountains of Israel. Remember that they're coming on Israel. They're coming at us. They're coming at us. Why would they be coming at us? We'll be there. We'll be in one place so that they can come at us. After we come from the sea of glass, what happens? The Bible said, I saw New Jerusalem come down out of heaven from Yah. Right? So New Jerusalem come down on the spot it's supposed to be. Messiah will crush any Edomites that's there. Because he said he's going to stomp them out. Isaiah chapter 63. Okay, he's going to stomp them out. Also, Revelation chapter 14. That's the blood coming to the horse's bridle. He's destroying Edomites. Look at Isaiah 63. I could look at it now. Maybe I will, but hold on. I got some others. We got to go over some things. So he's going to leave a sixth part of them, though. He's going to keep some of them. Now, compare that to chapter 38. Chapter 38 says almost the same thing, but he's not leaving any of them because this is the second resurrection. Okay, chapter 38, beginning at verse 1. The word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, same people, and prophesy against them and say, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia. Notice he mentioned all these other nations, because even though Yafet is leading, you're going to have all the other nations of the unsaved peoples with him. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, those are also Yafet, of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared for thyself, thou and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard against them. And notice verse 8. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter days thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword and gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel. See, because we're going to be gathered together, all the Israelites and those with them of the Gentiles that are with them. And we're going to have been there. And it says, after many days, thou shalt be visited. That's the second resurrection. That's the second resurrection. And that's why you see Gog and Magog running the game in the second resurrection. In the first resurrection is Gog and Magog, but they're led by the beast and the false prophet, which come from Gog and Magog. The beast and the false prophet are out of the kingdom that is run by Yafet, the Europeans. This is where we're at right now. The Europeans run the banking system. The Edomites run the banking system. They run the world governments. It's Gog and Magog. Revelation chapter 19, which we're going to also study, but I want to show you this. Revelation 19. And I want you to notice some of these wordings are going to be very similar to what we read in Ezekiel because it's the same thing. Okay. Revelation chapter 19, beginning at verse 18. Revelation 19, beginning at verse 18. And that ye may eat. Well, I'm gonna start at verse 17. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Most High, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies, there's Ezekiel 39, gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army, that is against Messiah and us. And remember what he said, I'll bring you to the mountains of Israel because we're going to be there. Okay. And the beast was taken. The word taken is captured. And with him, the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he had deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. Notice the mention of the mark of the beast and worshiped his image. This is not mentioned in the second resurrection. This is only mentioned in the first resurrection, because in the second resurrection, there's no more beast. There's no more false prophet. In the first resurrection, it's just Gog and Magog, led by Asatan and leading the whole earth against the city. This time, though, you got the system of Babylon with the mark of the beast, the system of Babylon with the worship of the image. You got the system of Babylon with the beast and with the false prophet. The false prophet is Christianity based in the United States. Okay, it's the evangelical Protestant Christianity based in the United States that's ruling with the Edomites. Edomites. Again, just look at the Supreme Court, man. You see the whole thing on the Supreme Court. 9 chief justices, 7 Catholics, 2 Edomites. That's the representation right there. 9 chief justices, 7 Roman Catholics, 2 Edomites. That's the Supreme Court of the United States. Wait a minute. Joe Biden is president, right? You know what Joe Biden is, right? Roman Catholic. Wait, who's the head of the Senate? Chuck Schumer, Edomite. Who's the head of the House of Representatives? Nancy Pelosi, Roman Catholic. Y'all see the picture? That's what's coming, brother. We here. Supreme Court, 9 chief justices, 7 Roman Catholics, 2 Edomites. And I saw the beast and the false prophet gather the armies against him that sat on horse and against his army. And the beast was taken with the false prophet. That means that the leadership, all those receiving the mark of the beast and therefore going to be destroyed. They're not even coming back for the second resurrection. They're going into the lake of fire in the first resurrection. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. That's it for them. That's it. Their system is done. Ezekiel chapter 39. So he's going to leave a 6th of them in the first resurrection. There's going to be some of them that's going to be taken captive. And they're going to serve us for 1,000 years. They're going to be hewers of wood, drawers of water, dressing our vines, plowing our fields. It's going to be righteous because they had us doing that for a long time. It's going to be righteous. But don't worry. They're going to be blessed. They're going to be in the kingdom. They're going to be better than their brethren. Their brethren ain't going to make it. And they're going to be the few, the remnant, 1/6. That means 5/6 are going to be destroyed. Okay? Okay? Ezekiel chapter 39, first resurrection. Let's go back over this. Ezekiel 39, this first resurrection stuff right here, which we also saw again in Isaiah 13 and Isaiah 14. See, the prophets all speak about it. Jeremiah chapter 30 speaks about it, and chapter 26, and chapter 51. Okay, Zephaniah speaks about it. Zechariah speaks about it, Zechariah 14. Okay, it's all there. All the prophets speak with one voice. And they're all echoing in the book of Revelation. All of them. Here we go. Ezekiel chapter 39, beginning at verse 1 again. Watch this. Watch this. Therefore, thou son of man, prophecy against Gog. Again, let me just make sure you'll understand who Gog is. For those of you that may not believe me, I'm telling you it's Europeans. Okay, I'm telling you it's Europeans. Okay, because they lead this earth. They lead the financial system, the religious system, the political system of this earth. Okay, they want. So when they be hearing these messages, the Most High gives me, they try to deny it. No, we're not. No, that's not true. No, we're not in charge. Oh, come on now. Come on now. What do you think all these white supremacists telling you? They telling you we deserve to be in charge. We're the strongest ones. We got the most bombs. But the Bible speaks against them. Okay, speaks against them hard. Can't have it both ways. You can't see yourselves running the Federal Reserve and running the banking system and running the largest corporations and literally owning Wall Street, and then having your people in power in Washington and the politicians being bought by corporations run by the sons of your Yafet, and then claim, no, it's not us. Can't do that. No. You dance to the music, baby. You got to pay the piper. Genesis chapter 10. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah. Shem, Ham, Japhet. The three sons come off that ship with Noah, Shem, Ham, Japhet. And every time you hear them mentioned, starting in Genesis chapter 5, Shem, Ham, Japhet. Why? Because they were triplets, and the first one come out was Shem. The last one come out was Japhet. That's why you always hear them together. Shem, Ham, Japhet. He didn't say first was born Shem, then later was born Japhet. No, Shem, Ham, Japhet. All together. Okay? Verse 2. The sons of Japhet, he starts with Gomer and Magog. Did we not see that in Ezekiel 38 and 39? Gomer and Magog. Madai, that's your Medes, as in Medes and the Persians. And Yavan, look up Yavan. The word for Yavan, Greeks. And Tubal and Meshach and Tiras and the sons of Gomer. Ashkenaz, from which you get Ashkenazi Jews. From Europe, from Japhet. Ashkenaz. And Rephath and Togarmah. All these Japhet's children. Sons of Japhet. Ali, Shah, Tarshish, Kittim, Dudanim. Verse 5. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after their tongues and their families in their nations. Gog and Magog are Eurocentric Gentiles whose system is against the kingdom and who are going to come against the kingdom and try to take the children of Israel captive and take the city. We're about to see how this is going to end up in Ezekiel chapter 39. Therefore, verse 1, Ezekiel 39, verse 1, therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog and say, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, because they trust in their guns. Do they not? You saw the Capitol a couple weeks ago. They came loaded, didn't they? Packing. Every place they go, they come packing. And they come in a whole bunch of them, even if they come in after one person. That's their style. And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, will cause thy arrows to fall out of thy right hand. Weapons not going to help. And thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands and the people that is with thee. And I will give thee into the ravenous birds. Didn't we just read that in Revelation chapter 19? I will give thee to the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. And thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, said the Most High Yahweh. This is what's coming. Y'all want the truth or don't you? Right here. And I will send a fire on Magog and them that dwell carelessly in the isle, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. So will I make my holy name to be known in the midst of my people, Israel. So let's stop right here. So apparently, there's two groups here. There's the people Israel, and there's Gog and Magog, which we already established are European-centric people that are leading the charge against Israel. Okay? But he said, I'm going to save a sixth part of y'all. A remnant, which we already read in Amos. There's going to be a remnant of the Edomites and of the heathen. It's going to be a remnant of them that come to this truth. So you can't classify them all as lost people, because they're not all going to be lost people. See, again, I like to stress, you cannot control where you're born. You cannot control what color you are. You cannot control who the parents are that came together to make you. You can't control that, but you can control your desire for truth. You can control your choice to follow what is true. That you can control. Okay, that's why there's going to be a remnant of the Edomites, a remnant of the heathen, and a remnant of the Israelites, because none of us can control who we are, where we come from, but we can all control whether we decide to follow truth or not. All of us can control that. Okay. Ezekiel 39. Verse 7. So will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel. I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, the Holy One in Israel. Verse 8. Behold, it is come, and it is done, said the Most High Yahweh. This is the day whereof I have spoken. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, the handstaves, the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years, complete annihilation. So that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, saith the Most High Yahweh. And that shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto God a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of passengers on the east of the sea. It shall stop the noses of the passengers. That's the lake of fire. And they shall be buried Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamon-Gog. 7 months shall the house of Israel be buried. Notice the word 7 again. 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying them, that they may cleanse the land. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, said the Most High Yahweh. And they shall sever out men of continual employment. Those are the captured Gentiles. They shall sever out or separate men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the strangers those that remain upon the face of the earth to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. And the passengers that pass through the land, when they see a man's bone, they shall set up a sign by it, till the barriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon-Gog. And also the name of the city shall be Hamona. Thus shall they cleanse the land. And thou, son of man, saith the Most High Yahweh, speak unto every feathered fowl. See, we read this in chapter 19 of Revelation. Speak unto every feathered fowl and every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come. Gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that you may eat flesh and drink blood. And ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, of goats, and bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken of my sacrifice, which I have sacrificed for you. That's the same as Revelation chapter 19. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken of my sacrifice, which I sacrificed for you. Thus shall ye be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men, with all the men of war, saith the Most High Yahweh. And I will set my glory, watch this, and I will set my glory among the heathen. And all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. Those are the 1/6 that are redeemed, or that are reserved, the 1/6. That's the heathen he's talking about. So the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh, their Most High, from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity. So then there'll be a clear understanding of who the Israelites are. And there'll be a clear understanding of why they come up out of slavery and oppression. Why did it happen to them? Why was this allowed? Then they shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. According to their uncleanness, according to their transgression, have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Yahweh. Now, he's telling you what's going to happen at that time. Now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy on the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that they have borne their shame and all their trespasses, whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwell safely in their land, and none shall make them afraid. See, same thing Jeremiah said, same thing Isaiah said. Okay, all the prophets. When I have brought them again from the people, and gathered them out of their enemies' land, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations, then shall they know that I am Yahweh their Most High, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them into their own land, and they have left none of them anymore there. See, he put us in captivity because of the uh, uh, disobedience of our fathers among the heathen. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, said the Most High Yahweh. See, there it is. Again, see? So now let's go back to Revelation chapter 11. Now let's finish that seventh trumpet. Because now you got the whole picture. Now you've seen what's going to happen. So now, once we are on the Sea of Glass, and the Most High brings the New Jerusalem to the spot, he's going to bring it in with them heathen and with them Edomites are right now, and he's going to bring us there. He's going to stomp out everything that's there. See, there are people that think because Daniel 11 says Edom, Moab, and Ammon, that somehow Jordan is safe. The place is going to be destroyed completely. It's not safe. That's not what he's talking about. Okay, so Revelation chapter 11, beginning at verse, let's see. Okay, beginning at verse 14. Well, let me start at verse 13. That's the end of the sixth trumpet. Now we're going into the seventh and last trumpet. The same hour was there an earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and an earthquake was slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. That's the end right there. That's when Messiah returning. We're gathered on the Sea of Glass. The 144,000 in the midst, and they're meeting for the first time with all the remnant of the people of Yah from all ages, from Adam all the way to the last person that has Yah's seal placed in their forehead. Everybody is going to be on the Sea of Glass. Okay? Verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Oh, yes, because at the end of this, it's one right after the other thing. It's not going to be no hesitation. It's all happening. Okay? Verse 15. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our master and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. See, Messiah is going to reign forever and ever. First thing, he's taking us to the Sea of Glass. That's where the wedding takes place. The wedding between 144,000, who is the bride, and the Messiah. That's why he said Messiah on Mount Zion with the 144,000 with his father's name in their forehead. That's the bride. Okay, those that are, there's a difference between the bride, listen carefully, and those invited to the wedding feast. You have to understand the Hebrew wedding. It's not like the earthly wedding, though there are some similarities. It's not like the way people do weddings here. It's a little bit different. In the Hebrew wedding, the coming together of the bride and the bridegroom is the marriage. There's no vows because both bride and bridegroom are under the covenant of Yah. They're all individually committed to Yah and to his covenant and to his righteousness. So they don't need to give vows to each other. They're already committed to Yah. But before they come together, there's witnesses that know that are around them. And before they come together officially, there's a feast. There's a wedding feast, and they're drinking wine and they're eating and they're celebrating that the wedding is going to take place. And then the bride and the bridegroom come together as one. And see, when it's man and woman, they have sex. Of course, we're not going to have sex with Messiah, but spirit is going to be connected. Because even on this earth, the marriages that are in Yah, that take place in truth, the man and the woman's spirit must be connected. We're so concerned with having sex, and ain't nothing wrong. Sex is good, better than Hollywood. But I want to tell you this, before that happens, you got to have your mind and spirits connected. Okay? Especially today, with all this deceiving and falsehood out here, and all this situation where people, women and men are all out of place. You need to have your spirits connected first. See, in the Bible days, two families could get together and arrange a wedding. And because the spirits are going to be connected because they were all under Yah. That is not the situation now. You got everybody people coming out of Christian churches and out of Muslim situations, and it's all different now. So before you connect with somebody, you got to make sure your spirits connect. That's what the courtship is for. Make sure your spirits connect. When your spirits actually connect, and you cannot rush that, it's got to be through prayer, through fasting, right? You got to want that. And you got to ask the Most High to bring that to you. When your spirits connect, your body's going to connect just fine. Just fine. When your spirits connect. Because there's true love of righteousness and truth in you. And that spirit connects. That's powerful. Okay? So here, when Messiah connects with the 144,000, is a connect of spirit and righteousness forever. That's the 144,000 with Messiah. And everybody else that's there, right? What does it say? Revelation chapter 19. Revelation chapter 19. Notice what it says. Revelation 19, verse 9. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they that are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. Blessed are they that are called. So the people that are called to bear witness are the guests at the wedding, and they're dressed in a wedding garment, which is perfect righteousness. So once that takes place, okay, and that's Messiah's coronation also as king, turn to this earth. And that's where we're saying here, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of the Yahweh and of his Messiah. And he shall reign forever and ever. That's what you see in Revelation 19. He comes on a white horse, and the saints follow him, are dressed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. That's where the heathen going to try to come take the city the first time. They're going to try it twice. First resurrection and second resurrection. And the second time was the last time. They will never come back from that. Okay. Revelation chapter 11. Start at verse 15 again. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our master and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Yah on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped Yah, saying, We give thee thanks, O Yahweh al Shaddai. That's O Lord God Almighty, O Yahweh al Shaddai, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and has reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And now, verse 19. And the temple of Yahweh was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark, the ark, the ark of his testament, the ark of the covenant, the ark of the covenant, which contains the 2 tables of stone, which are what? The 2 witnesses. The ark of the covenant. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. Lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. And just for review very quickly, Psalm chapter, this 19th division of the Psalm, Psalms 18, Psalms 18, talking about the Most High's voice. Psalms 18, beginning at verse 7. And the earth shook and trembled, and the foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because he was wroth. When he's angry, these things happen. Then there went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth. Devoured coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. Yea, he did fly in the midst of the wind. He made darkness his secret place, and his pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the sky. At the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Yahweh also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. What do we see in Revelation chapter 11, verse 19? And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail when he was wroth. The kingdoms of this world become the kingdom of the Most High Yah and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. That's what we're about to see. These are some very tremendous events that are getting ready to take place on planet Earth, starting with the seal of the 144,000. This is the quiet time for them, right? It's time. They're being prepared in quietness. They're being prepared. Nobody's paying any attention, but they're in their houses, apartments, and places, and where they live, slums, and wherever they live, and they are being prepared to give this last final message of power to the earth. They're in all four corners of the earth, being prepared to give a message of righteousness and truth, being prepared to teach righteousness and truth, that the listeners that receive this message will repent in righteousness and truth and come to the Most High, the God of Israel, the God of Yahshua. Well, that was the 7 trumpets. Wasn't that something? This whole thing. 7 churches, 7 seals, 7 trumpets. Amazing, amazing stuff. Now we're going to enter a new phase of the book of Revelation. We finished the 3-7. Now we're entering a new phase where there's going to be a focus on Israel, on the devil, on the system of Babylon that they create, of Gog and Magog, which we read about. All it's going to be focused, starting in chapter 12, going in chapter 13, the establishment of the Gog and Magog kingdom that's now made up of the Christianity, Judaism, Islam, led by the Pope of Rome and the United States of America. All of that is coming chapter 12, 13. And then 14, the counter, which is the Messiah's people, the 144,000. Okay, it's all, we're going to see all that these next 3 chapters. Okay, and then the redeemed on the sea of glass, the 144,000, and of course that goes with chapter 7 with all the other people with them. So we're going to see that in these next 3 chapters, chapter 12, 13, and 14. Well, it doesn't say. It just says that the writing is both sides, front and back, and we know it's the book of life. So I'm not sure if one side represents Gentile redeemed and one side represents Israelite redeemed, but it's all redeemed, that's for sure. So everybody's name that's going to be in the kingdom is in there. That's for sure. Good question. The writing on the back of the book of life are those Gentiles' names, Revelation 5:1. We don't know. It just said it is the book of life. It is the kingdom that the Messiah is going to represent is in that book. So all of the people that are inhabitants of the kingdom, all of them, whether they're the redeemed Gentiles, whether they're the captive Gentile, whether they're the Israelites, of course, they're all written in that book. Okay, all in there. Okay. Can't get into the kingdom unless your name is written in that book. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Okay. So it's interesting. There's some people that are unaware right now that they are written in that book. And in the future, they're going to come to the truth. Isn't that amazing? There are people who are unaware that their name is written in that book right now. And they're going through this life and they're trying to find their way through. And they will find themselves in the kingdom. Okay. The people that are just ignorant of that. Okay. Then there are those of us that are totally not ignorant of it and totally want our names in there, totally cognizant of the truth. Those are the ones that are going to lead the new kingdom. See, they're going to lead the new kingdom. Praise the Most High. Yeah. Good question. If y'all have any other questions, please, you can get this on YouTube. You can get it on the website, rawhebrewremnant.org. On the website, you can see questions or email in the description box. Lately, I've been putting the website, the playlist this is on, the website, as well as the email address. So you can see all that in the description box of this video. Okay. The next time we'll start in chapter 12, our new phase, as we mentioned. Until that, please be safe, be sincere for truth, be seeking righteousness of your heavenly Father and of his Son, Messiah. And may the Most High bless you in that endeavor and cause you to be sealed forever for his righteousness. Shalom.